Everybody's phones off? All right, Evan Ginsberg, back with Legends TV, live as you can see.
My phone's off, by the way.
That's right. Steve Ludwig, whose phone does occasionally ring during the show.
Oh, well, you know,
there you go.
I'm an important person.
Our co-host.
I'm always getting calls.
And wrestler Dickie Rodz. Dickie Rodz.
Don't worry, I hid my phone under the pillow. We're
All
good.
right. All right. So, guys, I was at the ICW wrestling show last night to see Amazing Red and Samoa Joe. And as always, we say support indie wrestling. You most likely would agree with that.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that's kind of like the slogan going around now. You know, everybody's hashtagging support indie wrestling, and excuse me, every time you're at a show, and you know, it's just like, I think that's what mostly the workers are talking about.
It's like a charity, support indie wrestling.
Yeah, I think that's more. I think it's more of a movement on the worker side than it is even the fan side, to be honest with you. You know, but in any case, I mean, you know, hey, just go support it because you know WWE isn't the only thing out there, and you know.
I kind of cringe when I hear like support R&B, support jazz, support blues, because it almost feels like it's a charity case, and that's not really true. What do you think, Steve?
Well, I mean, my mantra is indie wrestling it's so great because you're always right on top of everything, and you really feel a part of it. I mean, the WWE shows, of course, watching it on TV is not like being there, but even when you're there, you're kind of removed from everything. Yeah. But indie wrestling has it that so much over WWE in that way that you are right there, and it really does need to be supported because if people have never gone to an indie show
in New
they're
York,
missing it.
where movies are $15.50 in Manhattan, you could go to an indie wrestling show for $10, $15, $20, and you're sitting right on top of the action. You meet the wrestlers, you get autographs, you get pictures with them. I mean, except for maybe minor league baseball, I can't think of a better, cheaper live entertainment.
You know, the first time I was ever at a wrestling show, it was an indie show.
Yep.
And the first time I heard a wrestler being banged to the mat, I said, that sounds like it's wood, or it's, you know, you think it's so nice and soft, and it just to be there is so incredible.
Well,
you're so on top of it.
We have an expert here. What's it
Yeah,
like?
well,
What's it like to be banged on a bad ring?
Well, a bad ring?
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
But just before we go to that, I mean, what you guys are talking about, where you know everything's close and all that other jazz. It's more of an intimate environment, and I like using that terminology. It's an intimate environment. I mean, because you're used to walking into the WWE, and obviously you're in an arena, or you know Mohegan Sun, or you know whatever the case would be. Smaller places like the Westchester County Center, I believe, was small.
Yeah.
You know, but there was still so much space between you and the action, and the fact that when you go to a show, it's so funny. If you're sitting up in the nosebleeds, you're not hearing the sound timed with the actual move that you're seeing. So if you see a body slam, you're not hearing it until 2 or 3 seconds. It's like a delay.
That's interesting.
You know, which I hope you guys have on this show because I slip. But I mean, there's like a delay, and then you go there. Obviously, the experience is great. You know, let's call a spade a spade. Everybody loves the WWE, whether or not you're in a locker room and you're telling another guy that you're working that night. As far as wrestlers go, oh man, the product stinks. It does and it doesn't. There's still something there that draws us to it because no matter how much people are talking bad about it, you're still watching it. So there's still something there.
And look, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, so many of these guys are just tremendous world-class athletes. But I find that in the course of a 3-hour Raw, I enjoy maybe 20 minutes of it because there's so much nonsense, so much stilted dialogue that you just cringe. Like an 8-year-old would just cringe.
20 minutes is about all the wrestling you get out of a 2-hour Raw show.
Oh, who wants to hear
literal
some
wrestling?
Who wants to hear, like, you guys do the show every week. You're not scripting your lines. You're not
We scripted every word of this.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But if you scripted every word of it, my God, I'd get up and walk out because this is going to get repetitive and boring.
Yeah,
but, that's part of the problem. But
We
there's
strive for
there.
repetitive and boring.
Yeah,
That's the goal.
Well, that's why I'm here. So anyway,
As Evan said, we strive for repetitiveness.
yeah, we
Not
strive to be
repeat.
boring and suck. But in any case, going back to our point, then you go to an independent show, and I think this is where some of the sparkle to it is that, the ring is so many, feet away from you in National Coliseum, Madison Square Garden, and it's just not as intimate. You're not getting as close to it, and I don't think you're investing in anything that's in there, as, comparison to when you go to an independent show, excuse me, and sometimes you'd be 4 feet away from the ring, depending on what the venue is that they're working in. I know I've worked in some buildings that were VFW halls, and you can maybe cram in 100 people in there. And it's like, those are the ones where I feel that, even though it's 100 people, whatever the case may be, it's smaller, that's where I get more of a reaction from the people after a match. And, and I could walk through the curtain and the promoter could say, God forbid, that match wasn't that great. But the people are finding something involving because it's just it's so much closer. You hear everything. I mean, even if, God forbid, someone hears a wrestler talking, there's still... If you're, in my opinion, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but in my opinion, if you really are a professional wrestler and you know what you're doing, if they heard me talk or anything like that to give away anything, and I even hate to say that, but if I can get them back, whereas to, something looked absolutely real, and I'm not even going to get into, descriptions on all that because I don't want to give away everything, but if I can make them feel that something happened in there after the fact that they have caught me exposing the business, which honestly even workers do it today. But it's like if I go in there and I've exposed it somehow, I lifted the blanket off the bed and I showed something, I'm going to try my hardest to get it back. And it's either going to be something where it's emotionally invested, where people are going to really think I got hurt. People are going to really think me and this guy are arguing with each other, or something to that extent. But it's something. You got to give them. In my opinion, there's got to be something to bring them back, and it's usually a nice little carrot, like, hey, these two guys are mad at each other now. I heard that.
Right.
Okay? I heard that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That guy screwed up, and now this guy is beating up. I don't care. It's anything. So you got to ring, man. You're really good. I heard you in there, but what happened after that? You guys really have a fight in there? And I see that in other matches too. It's something to grab hold of. And I think when you have a smaller audience and they do catch something like that, I think you made them more of a believer than anything else just out of that alone.
All right.
Because people have the mind frame of thinking, okay, well, it's fake. But then you're asking me how does it feel when you hit a ring that sucks?
Yeah.
It's not too fake.
And gravity isn't fake. And I've had indie
Yeah.
wrestler friends tell me they're always in pain.
Yeah.
Always in pain.
Absolutely, every day.
By the way, you mentioned the Westchester County Center, and the greatest matches I ever saw there was Pat Patterson and Ted DiBiase, who's Ted's a dear
Yes.
friend of you,
Yes.
you and Bobby Rydell.
Yeah. Oh,
So want to do a shout out to Bobby Rydell,
Yeah, wherever you are.
wherever he is.
But
And I just want to also say that the Elks Lodge tonight, they're having another big ICW show, and I don't remember the address of the Elks Lodge offhand, but there's a giant freaking elk outside the building, so you can't miss it.
I think it was like
Queens
8210. 8210 Queens
Wow,
Boulevard.
you have a good memory.
And that's the mark in me because I remember going to ECW all the time at the original Elks Lodge right next
Right.
door. Yeah,
That's
no,
right.
I think it's 8210.
And also the elegant NYWC Sportatorium has a show tonight.
Oh, lovely.
So
lovely.
support our buddies out there.
Isn't it the freaking elegant?
That's right, the freaking elegant
Because the freaking
NYWC
Elks Club.
Our
don't
buddy,
want to feel like
Jerry Werner, his group, SWA.
Okay, SWA. Okay,
right,
yes,
right.
yes. I know of them.
So, we're going to shift a little here. We have noticed over the past 3 years, we've done about 150 shows. We've brought on the greatest R&B acts in history. We've had million-selling artists. We've had tremendous indie artists who, like Edwin Vazquez today, who's played with Paul Simon and Mark Anthony. Tremendous live music later in the show. But what we found is, with so much content out there on the internet, that it's very hard to, get that, mass audience that we crave. And what I've noticed, Steve, we talked about this. What's very, very popular, besides cute babies, of course, are animal videos.
I mean, I'm an animal lover, but
Right.
you're a crazy animal lover. I know
That's
you
right.
scour the internet for the best kind of animal videos, and then we share them back and forth.
That's right. So, I went through countless videos to find the most exhilarating, best shot, that we could possibly find. And, animals, of course, are beautiful creatures. And, to watch this video that we're about to show.
This is the best one? Of the
I
ones that
consider
you've
this probably the best animal video on the net.
seen. Wow.
And
After all the ones that you...
that's right. So what we're going to see now is Luigi the Bunny. This is incredible, folks. Incredible. Check this out. Incredible.
Wow, and
Yeah.
I can imagine all the videos that you've gone
That's
through.
right.
You chose that one.
That's right. Luigi the Bunny,
Wow.
who has a Facebook page that has as many hits as Dickie Rodz' page. You know, right?
Yeah, Luigi, I'll tell you, a friend of ours, Johnny Video,
Johnny Video.
has the Luigi the Bunny
That's
Facebook page.
And Luigi has attained like this Zen-like quality where he could just sit in front of a fan and be.
Yeah, see,
Right?
he just exists.
That's right. Luigi, the brilliance, the genius of Luigi the Bunny. Right here on Legend. That's ratings, Steve. Ratings. I don't know what to say.
The genius of the bunny, I think,
That's
is
right.
pretty much
That's
what.
right.
The Zen bunny.
And getting back to Dickie, you have some shows coming up, and we're going to see the actual posters, I believe. Tell us about
Yeah,
this.
I hope we have the posters. I
Set
can't
this
remember
up.
dates. Well, there's Valkyrie Pro Wrestling coming up early July. God, I can remember the date. It'll be on the poster.
Our buddy
It's on
Chris
the-
Levin.
Yes, Chris
That's
Levin. He was
right.
here. He talked all about his product, which
Chris Levin's on the internet saying that just like for the past 200 years, indie promoters rip his posters off. Come on.
Well, I mean,
what's that all
that
about?
happens all over the place. I mean, it happens right here on Long Island. I don't know if I should even say company name, so let's just
Don't.
leave it at
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
just leave it at company A, company B. But I remember, and I'm probably sure that it still happens. One of the companies has their signs ripped out of the ground, just that they put on the side of the road, and whatever.
Steve's
it
known
is.
to do that. He's
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you like bunnies, you like ripping up the sides. What else do we don't know? But-
Sometimes I have my bunny with me as I'm.
that's your partner in crime. You can't do anything else with a bunny.
I would guesstimate that 95% or more of indie shows, unless they're sold shows, lose money. So why don't these guys work together? Come on.
I don't think it's ever going to happen, and it's sad to say that it'll never happen. I think it's just because everybody, except with the exception of one person I've ever met on Long Island that does not have that mentality, just wants to be left in his own world, his own bubble, which is honestly, I think that's the best thing at this point. But I just think that guys are never going to work together because everybody thinks they're better than the next guy, or they have a better product, or I have better workers, you don't, or you're using all your homegrown guys that trained with you, or whatever the case may be. There's so many different opinions and so many different answers I've heard, but yeah, it doesn't really work out well for. I would say for the wrestler at best, that's the one that's taking the hit the most, because now you're blocked from going to company B, company C, and that just takes. Hopefully, it takes money out of your pocket if you're going to a reputable place. If not, they're just telling you, hey, you can be on the show, and you're looking at me on the show. A lot of guys look at me on the show and take no pay, But I think it's taking away a lot of work and a lot of opportunity, a lot of experience for a lot of guys to be watered down into one watering hole. And I can't lie, that happened to me for many years. Oh, you can't go there. Oh, you can't go there.
Yeah.
And there are certain guys, there are certain companies that work with other companies, but it's not a long-term thing. It's a very short-term deal. Because
Also, if you're wrestling the same guys 400 times,
Right.
you're not growing, you're not learning.
correct,
Of course.
and at one time, that's what you were getting for 3, 4, 5 years straight. It was all the same guys, 30 guys, 35 guys wrapped into one, and you just, it's a revolving door with all the matches you're going to see. But, I think that. I think it's a lot of shady stuff sometimes. It's the politics of wrestling. I'm sure you've heard some things about
Yeah.
what happens.
I
behind
was
the curtain.
publicist on a show
Yeah, I mean,
last
you-
year, and rival promoters were doing everything in their power to sabotage it.
Yeah.
I was sitting in cars with wrestlers while the rival promoters were saying to them, "Why are you plugging this show?" And we're
Yep.
like, "Well, we're on it."
Yep.
It's like,
Yeah, and they'll turn around and be like, I don't even know why you want to do business with him. He's probably not paying you. So this and that. It's like, listen, just quiet down, relax yourself. Nobody's interfering with your promotion.
they're all fighting for crumbs, and a good guy like Chris Levin, let him
Chris,
promote.
I think Chris in a lot of ways gets a bad rap, and it really sucks because you've had a chance to sit down and talk to him. I took I think it was almost a 4-hour car ride into Pennsylvania one day. I hadn't really known Chris. Chris and I were we were friendly because we'd known each other from locker rooms, but we took a 4-hour car ride. It took 4 hours to get to, I believe we were going to Sanctuary down in Hazleton over there, in WrestleVet's place. And it took 4 hours to realize that we have a lot of similar ideas, and we have a lot of similar goals in the business.
He loves the
and,
business. And
opinions.
he's passionate about it. And the idea of a quality
Yeah.
women's wrestling promotion as opposed to, Playboy Playmates and
Sure,
models makes sense to me.
I mean, I can't take away from the other women's promotions that are in the country that do run, like, the couple rattle off you had, like Shine Wrestling or WSU Wrestling or
Shimmer.
Shimmer,
Shimmer's
yeah.
good,
Aside from them, because obviously they have done something right, because
Sure.
they're very popular and just, mention their name. But I think Chris just has a different vision, and, he's talked about it. He doesn't really talk about it in depth with me. I hear so much of it. But Chris is running the promotion, Valkyrie, just like the common indie promoter would, as far as, well, I'm not treating them as women. I'm not treating them as models, and I'm not treating them as sex objects. You guys are going to go in there and you're going to give me everything you got.
You want to know something? When I watch WWE and 90% of these women come out, that's when I go get a snack or whatever. I want to watch Sarah Del
Yeah.
Rey wrestle,
Oh my
not
God.
the.
Yeah.
She's training them.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're rapidly running out of time. So set up the posters. What are we looking
well,
at?
hopefully you'll just flash the posters. I can't remember.
Okay.
Well, one is Valkyrie, which is the beginning of July, and I believe towards the middle of July is Create a Pro wrestling show coming out, number 4. They're a great little company just starting out. They started off as a training place. It's Kurt Hawkins School. I'd love to get into more of that, but we don't have time. And if you're looking to become a pro wrestler on Long Island,
I
that's
saw
the place
Kurt
to go.
Hawkins wrestle last night. The guy's great.
Oh, he's phenomenal. He's a
Tremendous.
great human being. He's got a
Tell
great
him
mind.
to come on the show.
Oh, I'll tell him to come on here,
yeah,
definitely. He's got 8
absolutely.
years of knowledge of WWE to share,
That's
you
right.
know?
I can rip on WWE. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, not for nothing. He'll probably let you do it.
Okay.
He'll probably back you. So, no, definitely. It's a great place. And when if anybody's looking to get in the ring and become a wrestler, that's the place to go. Him, Pat Buck, and Alex Reynolds, they really got it down. And it's a drama-free zone, and it's all about wrestling. And if you're not willing to get in there and learn how to wrestle, and you're just there to hang out, you're gonna get kicked out. It's not for you. It's just go find another place.
All right. So plug anything you want to plug, and then we're going to have Steve plug his various projects. Any social media? Or anything?
Oh, well, you can find me on Twitter at the Dickie Rodz, on Facebook, Dickie Rodz. God, what else? Instagram, the Dickie Rodz. That's about all my social media outlets.
Okay.
But other than that, just keep up with me there, and you'll find out where I am next. So
Okay. And Steve hosting 2 radio shows.
2 radio shows. We have tomorrow. Now, Paul McCartney, I have the Beatles out with Steve Ludwig every Sunday morning on iTunesUSA.com, broadcast right here from the Madhouse Studios.
Paul McCartney was the guy that Kanye West discovered, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
before that he was in a group called Wings, I think.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He's an expert. You
Yeah.
can tell.
Right.
Yeah.
And, anyway, on June 18th, Paul turned 73. And
Wow.
so many people, I think, don't realize, well, many do, but how deep he is with music. He has classical music, ambient, electronic music.
He looks damn good for 73. We saw Ginger
Yeah.
Baker. They were practically carrying him on and off the stage.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yep. But it was bittersweet with Ginger Baker.
Yeah, he's still a great player.
Yeah,
but,
great players, right. But it's a special 3-hour show tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then 3 hours is tough. If you can't get the whole show, you just go to planetludwig.com, and all the shows are archived there. And also my other show, Steve Ludwig's Classic Pop Culture, they're all archived at planetludwig.com. Tommy James, Leslie Gore, all those great
That's right.
singers that we know. and
Tommy
love.
James sold 100 million records, and he's not in the Rock and Roll Hall
Yeah.
of Fame.
Well,
Yeah.
we could have a show just on that. On
That's right.
Who should be?
And we're going to try to
be.
bring him on.
Yes, yeah. I've been speaking with his rep. We were going to have him on today, but something happened.
Well, we had Dickie Rodz instead, so
Yeah,
we told
yeah.
Tommy James to take a hike.
I'd say it's an even trade.
He's wrestled 100,000 matches, 100 million
right.
matches.
Yeah.
So same thing. And you know what, Evan? I do want to mention your book on,
right.
on there. It's
Apartment
really
4B, like in Brooklyn, about the turbulent East Flatbush of the 60s and 70s. If you think there's racial tension now, you should have seen back in the day. And Steve Ludwig, who was cut open, had his ribs broken, and made a funny book about it. I don't know how that happened, but tell us
Well,
briefly.
there was a foreign object
That's right.
came out, sliced open my chest. I had open heart surgery back in '06. I just wrote a silly book about it and all the things that happened before, during, and after the.
When you think lighthearted comedy, you think open heart surgery.
Yeah, you think cutting rib cages and
That's right.
pulling the ribs apart. Very
It's
cool.
dark humor.
Yeah, dark humor.
Anyway.
Although it was nice and light in the operating room.
That's
but
right.
seriously,
We would hope so. And finally, to wrap up this segment, we're going to show a brief clip from the Wrestling Then and Now documentary that Dwayne Walker out of California, now in Vegas, directed. Nikolai Volkov, Dr. Death Don Arnold, Killer Kowalski, the late great Tiger Khan, Homicide, Lowlife Louis Ramos, etc. So
And
on.
Evan Ginsberg.
And Evan Ginsberg. You could stream it, you can buy it, check it out, folks. Support it. Support indie everything. Thank you. And then we'll go to a commercial right after.
From the associate producer of The Wrestler, Evan Ginsberg, comes Wrestling Then and Now.
What? I think you look better with the mask on!
Learn the super secret backstage moves of professional wrestlers.
You know, he knows all those moves and can do everything, right? But
Innovative ways of dealing with sexual harassment.
But I actually did make contact on his nuts, and it did hurt.
Ask yourself, what the hell is wrong with these people? Watch Saturday morning cartoons with Nikolai Volkov. What are you doing here, Nikolai?
Yeah, save the shuttle.
That's the best one too.
Amazing likeness there.
Good looking guy.
Hear the wisdom of killer Walter Kowalski.
Think you become, the feel you become, what you say you become. Never ever be derogatory about yourself. If you're down, take the upper stand. I am Superman. I am the greatest. I am perfect.
It's a time capsule of a film. Wrestling Then and Now. Streaming to your computer, to your phone, to your TV. Download now.
Me
nearly a decade, Evan Ginsberg's Legends Radio has featured interviews with the greatest names in the arts and sports. Heard worldwide at legendsradio.net, the program has featured these great musical legends: Ray Manzarek of The Doors, Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins, Judy Collins, Roberta Flack, and many more. Stars from movies, TV, and comedy have included Jenny McCarthy, Wayne Brady, 30 Rock's Judah Friedlander, Shelley Berman, Jackie the Joke Man Martling, David Allen Greer, and Paul Mooney. Stars of pro wrestling and MMA include Bruno Sammartino, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Superstar Billy Graham, and Frank Shamrock. Co-hosted by renowned journalist Dr. Mike Lano, Legends Radio is heard Wednesdays 7 p.m. to 9:20 p.m. Eastern Standard. We are archived 24/7 with hundreds of hours of classic interviews. Legends Radio also features the best in indie music, showcasing talent deserving wider exposure.
I'm from Brooklyn, baby. Don't forget the gravy. We are soldiers.
You missed the birth of your mother and father. Don't you dare miss Evan Ginsberg's Legends Radio. All right, and we are back, and we are honored to be joined by Richard Sirgiovanni, who has an animated series called The Grimps. And,
yes, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We go back, Steve and I, to the days of the Archies and the Banana Splits and the Jackson 5 cartoons.
Right,
so,
right.
This is right up our alley. Tell us about The Grimps.
The Grimps is an animated rock and roll TV show I, about 4 years ago, started to develop. And it's about these 5 characters called Winston, Mac, Emerson, and Mooney, and their friend Magic Alex, who lived 500 years ago, and they were minstrels, and they were cursed by an evil wizard who was jealous of them.
I've had that happen to me.
Yeah. And they were banished for 500 years, and then there was a spell that turned them back to humans, but only from sunset to sunrise, and they go out and resurface as this rock and roll group called the Grimps.
Because those are good musician hours.
Yeah, they're perfect.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that was part of the concept, and the show is going to present the Grimps as an original animated rock and roll band with original music, something similar to what was done with the Monkees 50 years ago.
Sure.
And,
50 years ago, Rich.
It's 50 years ago already. Oh. Yeah. Just the Monkees were, a play off of what was going on with Beatlemania at the time, and they put a show together, thinking it would probably, just be a fun type of thing, and they developed an original rock and roll band that is still known today with great, original music. That's part of what the Grimps project's about, to work with good songwriters and get good songs and develop them, and the storylines will all be positive and promote, positive messages and entertainment for kids, which is something I think is lacking in children's animation and television for a while.
And you have some huge names involved. Tell us about some of the people.
Well, I'm currently working with two gentlemen in the music business, like Ronald Luxembourg, and my musical producer is Tony Bon Jovi, who's worked with the Talking Heads and the Ramones.
Wow.
And I've had interest and calls from several people from the rock music business, like Keith Emerson and Peter Noon and Mickey Dolenz, who mentioned the Monkees, and Todd Rundgren, and a few others who have all shown great interest in the Grimps, whereas they think it's cool, they think it's nostalgic, they think it's fresh and new, and would like to get involved in any way that they can in the future. So we're going to be figuring out how that all happens once we really get into production with the show.
And Steve has a deep love and respect for animation and rock, and he has his own Beatles radio show. I'm sure you want to ask some.
Oh, my God. Well, one of the great things, I went on to grimps.com, by the way, that's the website, and your electric press kit, and you had a sample of the animation. What's great about the Grimps is that it appeals to kids, of course, but there is so many cool kind of hidden or underlying inside jokes or names and things that adults and grandparents of these kids, you can watch it together, and I'll get a joke where one of the kids might not get it, but it reaches so many it's a multi-generational concept.
Yeah, my greatest hope, and still as it goes into production, is that it will be family entertainment for 3 generations. And one of the reasons, I have signs of it showing already, I got fan base from around the world from 7 to 70. And I think, Steve said, and he got what I was hoping to happen, was that, the parents and the grandparents. The grandparents are the classic rock generation, you know. That generation were the first that really grew up seeing animation on television for the very first time in the early 60s,
Right.
It's a thing that I have seen already that, the grandparents and the parents, they love the music, they love the nostalgia to it. It reminds them of when they were kids, and the kids are finding the cute characters and the fun to it and the purity of what cartoons should be for kids, and it's all coming together. And we haven't even aired one episode yet, but so far from what they're seeing, it's coming together in the direction I wanted it to be. So I'm real happy about that.
So why don't we see a clip? Why don't you set up what you sent Janine?
Well, yeah, sure. This will be a kind of a photo montage of the Grimps and who they are on top of our theme song called We're the Grimps, and hope you like it.
All right. Here we go.
Winston, Mac, Emerson, and Mooney, clap your hands, everybody sing. Winston, Mac, Emerson, and Mooney, clap your hands, everybody shout. We're the Grimps, we're the band, playing where we can. We're the Grimps, we're the band, playing one-night stands. Come along and sing our song, we're gonna rock it all night long. Here we come, we're on the move, now come on, let's go, it's time for fun. Here we come, we're in the groove, now come on, let's go, calling everyone. We're the Grimps, we're the band, coming to your town. We're the Grimps, we're the band, you can't keep a good band down. Come along and sing our song, we're gonna rock it all night long. We're the Grimps. Winston, Mac, Emerson, and Mooney, clap your hands, everybody sing. Winston, Mac, Emerson, and Mooney, clap your hands, everybody shout. We're the Grimps, we're the band, playing where we can. We're the Grimps, we're the band, playing one-night stands. Come along and sing our song, we're gonna rock it all night long. We're the Grimps.
All right, the Grimps. Beautiful stuff, and
Thank you.
I like that song. Very catchy and
Evan, you
nostalgic in a sense. Right?
Yep.
You mentioned the Archies cartoon show before. Ron Dante, who was the lead singer of the Archies, Sugar Sugar.
Yeah, it was ironic that my theme song, Where the Grimps, is written by Ron Dante and the guy who was the voice of the Archies, and biggest hit record in 1969, selling more than the Beatles or anyone else that year.
Wow.
And I was introduced to him, and he's a sweetheart of a guy, and he understood what I was trying to do with this, and pulled in another name from that era, Freddie Boom Boom Cannon.
Palisades Park. Yeah, I remember him.
Palisades Park. And the two of them.
He's a great live performer. I've seen him.
Yep.
Very
I
charismatic.
haven't met Freddie yet, but Ron pulled him in, and they wrote this great song, and they presented it to us, and I loved it automatically. It did everything. It was fun. It was peppy. It introduced the show, the characters, I wanted something similar to Hey Hey We're the Monkeys and kind of tell a little story with the lyrics. And he hit it, and that'll be a theme song of our show.
I remember the banana splits.
Oh yeah,
the
the big costume.
That's
puppets,
right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
some catchy music, right?
Yeah.
I go back a few years before you, Evan. I remember the Beatles cartoons in the 60s.
Yep.
And speaking of the Beatles, what's great about the Grimps is Beatle fans will love there are a lot of rock references, but one of the Grimps is named Winston, which was John Lennon's middle name. Mac.
For Paul McCartney. And we have Mooney, I took that in tribute to Keith Moon from The Who, and Emerson for Keith Emerson of Emerson, Lake and Palmer. But the whole Grimps concept borrows and takes subtleties and names from rock and roll history. A lot of kids won't know it, but it's the parents and especially the grandparents do. I mean, the evil wizard who cursed the Grimps is Spectre. And it goes on from there. And if you are a real Beatles fan, you'll know the name Magic Alex from their history. And he is the friend and wizard and manager of the Grimps. So it goes on and on from there. And we have a lot more to do, and a lot of other characters the public hasn't seen yet that are developed that take on that same aspect of names, and it's just a fun thing for me to do with it.
We're kind of in a golden age of animation, films like Spirited Away, these beautiful Japanese animation, as well as the anime, a lot of action, and but there's so much product out there. Is it a boom period, or is it that much harder to get seen and heard?
That's a good question, and now social media, helps, get the word out, and there's a million TV channels, and when we were kids, there were maybe 5, and now there's literally a million networks. It gives a lot more opportunity, but there's a lot more clutter, and I think a little harder to break through, I believe. Animation has gone so far from where the Flintstones were, in the 60s, and, they drew the characters with 4 fingers because animation would be quicker if they didn't draw the 5th finger.
Right.
And now they can do anything. But I don't know, it's funny. I love it all, and I appreciate the technology and all that, but I think the animation in some respects is getting so sophisticated, it doesn't look like a cartoon anymore. For people who might like that look, I mean, they're almost looking completely human.
Right.
And they go any further, they will. And that's not me. What I like to do is, I have lived my career as an artist before computers, so I still, even with the Grimps, I'll draw by hand, but I'll take the technology we have now to speed it up. But I think there's something pure and nice and sweet and cute in a little back less of the way the technology is, and that's just me. I mean, time will tell. I mean, still the biggest shows in animation and television, are your Family Guy and your Simpsons and that type of traditional animation.
I remember as a kid when they re-released Fantasia, and we saw it in the theater, and that was magic. Oh my God, beautiful!
One of my favorite movies of
beautiful.
all time. I mean, really, that was Disney's Sgt. Pepper. I mean,
tremendous.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Evan, do you remember, and some of our viewers might, the Family Circle comic strip, or actually the
Bill Keane.
Bill Keane in the Sunday papers?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Rich has a great story.
When I first started getting interested in drawing and art, about 10 years old, I spent many summers with relatives in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I just found out by accident, or I don't remember how, that Bill Keane, who was a cartoonist, lived in Scottsdale, Arizona. And my world at that time was reading comic books, reading the funny papers, and I knew who Bill Keane was very well. And I always thought it was like real cool of a possibility of a career to be a guy who can work in a studio in his pajamas and draw. So I found out where he lived just through the Yellow Pages or whatever. And I found my way to Bill Keane's house, and I knocked on his door at 11 years old or whatever I was, and he answered the door, and I told him my name, and I said, I'd like to be a cartoonist. And he was, what a sweetheart. He brought me into his house. He brought me into his studio, which was magical, the big drafting table and his little couch and pictures of his characters, and the comic strip he was working on was taped to his drafting table. And he spent about 20 minutes, a half hour, whatever it was, and
That's
told me
beautiful.
all about it.
Yeah.
And it was inspiring, and I made my way back, and I never forgot it. And I had the opportunity to meet him about 15 years ago or more, whenever it was, at a comic convention, and we spoke, and he remembered me. And it was just something, I had it in me. I had to go see this man.
Oh, that's
and he
great.
was great. He was
That's
great.
great. Well, please plug any social media or anything you'd
Well,
like to plug.
as I mentioned, the Grimps is going to be shopped now for a development deal, but in the meantime, for news, for updates, please, you can find us on Facebook, on our fan page at the Grimps, and on Twitter, and we'll be posting news and all the other things that we're doing, and see the progress of the Grimps.
There you go. And you're welcome to stay with us for the next segment, because we're going to talk music with Edwin Vazquez and James Grover, two tremendous world-class musicians, so don't you dare go anywhere.
My name is Dr. Robert Brevard. I'm here for Multi-Medicine in Westbury, New York. We're located at 1065 Old Country Road, Suite 214. Been here for about 15 years. The practice has medical doctors, physical therapists, chiropractors, acupuncturists. We also do pain management, and we have orthopedists on staff. Here at Advanced Multi-Medicine Rehabilitation, we've got physical therapists on staff who treat an array of conditions, from neck pain to back pain, shoulder pain. We treat carpal tunnel. We treat a lot of car accident patients, slip and falls. We treat patients with knee injuries, with ankle injuries. We have state-of-the-art equipment. We've been here for over 15 years. Vast array of diagnostic testing, from x-rays to EMGs. What is an EMG? It's a diagnostic test that allows a doctor to determine where the pinched nerve is. Cora is a physical therapist at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. She's working on Stephanie, who was involved recently in an automobile accident. Stephanie has tight thoracic and cervical musculature, and Cora is doing some myofascial release work and some therapeutic stretching, doing it to help her with her pain. Vicky is also a patient here at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. Vicky is now working her leg muscles, specifically her quadricep muscles, trying to strengthen them after an injury she sustained. If you find yourself in need of any type of physical therapy, please don't hesitate to call Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation, located in Westbury, New York, in Suite 214. Phone number is 516-334-7000, or find us on our website at advancedmultimedicine.com.
Being a fireman is more than just putting out blazes and giving kittens CPR. Sometimes my duty demands I fan the flames, Like when a call comes in from a lady who needs immediate assistance. Maybe she needs help with that computer thing. Maybe she wants to go antique. Could be as simple as understanding that walking in heels it's hard. Aussi simple que l'été dernier à Paris. C'est sympa. Maybe it's ladies' night in, and she wants a simple, delicious recipe for margaritas with a twist. First, a can of limeade. Now hold on to this. You'll be using it. Side note, kittens make everything better. Next, add water. Now, a bottle of light beer. No, shh. Trust me, I'm a professional. And last, and most important, Sauza Blue tequila. Now, mix it up. Ole. Yes, that's what I'm trained for. Whether it's to help her choose leggings or pants, telling her leggings are pants, or discussing leggings and jeggings versus pant pegging at her next ladies' night in, I'll come to the rescue. Don't call me a hero. Just call me. Let me know what time.
I think this is a good time to tell you. You're doing okay, Mom. I can call you Mom, right? I know we haven't known each other very long, but you seem like a real keeper. You're not perfect. There was that strained carrots incident, but you're trying. You pick up my bottle every time I toss it out of my stroller. That's high comedy to an 8-month-old. You hum the Barber of Seville when you wash my hair. So cool. And your rub-downs are out of this world. Anyway, I want you to know how much I appreciate you. You know, right? How much I love you? You're doing okay, Mom.
All right, and we are back with Legends TV, and we have our regular guests returning, what, for the 10th, 12th time? James Grover, Edwin Vazquez, and always honored to have you guys.
Always a pleasure to be here.
And as I say all the time, Edwin has worked with people like Mark Anthony and Paul Simon, and been all over the world on various TV shows. And how long you guys been together now?
Back. Well, we're not dating, you know. I mean, we're just,
I'm not talking about the like the marriage thing. I'm talking about
the marriage of music.
That's right, marriage of music.
He's a good-looking guy.
And now in all 50 states, it's okay. So
all right.
Yeah,
well, that's
thank goodness,
it's
right?
Actually about time. That's a really
actually. We
really
joke about it, but I'm serious.
Really, it is.
Me too.
It's going on the 3rd year back. You know, I had an absence, of course, of playing music, but it's 3 years now. 3 years this December.
And what makes somebody leave music and come back? Give us the backstory.
Well, you know, I had a family, and the whole, I guess what they consider the American dream, you know, the wife, the kids, moved away, moved to New England, which was Rhode Island, and came back to New York, you know, for other reasons, and I actually kept track of Edwin on YouTube, and when the internet was really booming, I was just so proud, I was so happy, and kept track, and it rekindled later, you know, with the music. I never left me anyways. Okay. Never left me.
And what have been some of the highlights with you guys, Edwin?
Oh man, it's been great. I mean, first of all, working with James is great. We had a group back 20 years ago called Sublime Groove, and you know, it's been obviously so long, and just to reconnect with this brother again, it's the best, because he really feels you on stage. He's really there, you know, present, And we've done so much, man, since we've been, you know,
Yeah,
since we've
it's
on
been,
board.
it's been,
Just
and
got
thank
the-
you, by the way. That's
Oh, are you kidding me? It's the truth. And we just recently got I've been performing the Puerto Rican Day Parade for a few years, but was never expected. I got a talent recognition award.
There
I
you
don't know
go.
if I told you that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
Thank you. I'm still in the clouds for that one. We did the Trendsetter Awards, which was another honor. We opened up for that show, for the awards, and just did a project with Keith Kemper and Peter McLean, two great producers. We're going to get Uriel Cartagena to be on the next album playing. You know, he's going to play maybe a few songs on there. He's played for Black Eyed Peas.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's always, of course, a privilege to be here, you know.
Thank
with
you. Thank you.
Evan, you know, you've supported, like I said. It's a time of transition, brother, you know.
That's right. That's right. Somebody's beeping. 32 times I said turn off your phones. Who's beeping?
Oh, my phone, not us.
Somebody's beeping. Anyway.
I think I know what it is. It happened to me on Telemundo.
What's that?
My tablet inside my bag. It's not my phone, technically.
Okay.
It's my tablet, and it's
So this is going to be the shortest interview in history, Edwin. I'm not reprimanding you or anything. That's right. Go through that window.
Yeah. I'll check it out. Shut it off right now. Right here for all of you to see. It's my tablet. This is where you can see. This
Oh,
is
okay. That's my tablet now.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So, I just want to acknowledge mighty Sam McLean, who tremendous R&B artist. He was on my radio show several times. He just passed a week or so ago. And what a great world-class artist, what a gentleman. And ironically, the last appearance on my radio show, he was talking about one of his band members passing. And he was very sad, and you know, not all that long after he's gone. Mighty Sam McLean. It's a combination of R&B and blues. Beautiful music.
How old was he about?
He was in his early 70s, I believe. Yeah, and just should have had a larger audience than he did. Just a world-class musician. So check out Mighty Sam McLean, and rest in peace to this great artist. And what do you have coming up? You have something coming up tonight. What am I talking about? Patty's Bar, right?
Yeah, Patty's, what is that? Patty Quinn's Tavern in Queens. We'll be there at 7, right?
Yeah, in Flushing.
Yeah, in Flushing, and we're doing, July 9th, we're doing La Calle, which is in Brooklyn, by BAM, right across from BAM. And we're doing the Library Branches in Queens, which is a lot of fun.
That's just been incredible.
Then we're doing the film festival at Nears. It's called Nears, Woodhaven Boulevard. Sylvana, July 31st, Unplugged Performance. And there's a few
more and more, and August is rolling around. That's just a little bit
that's
of July.
That's all.
And speaking of libraries, for many immigrants, I'm a former ESL teacher who worked with adult immigrants. It's like a college for them, a place like the Main Street Library in Flushing, and we really should support libraries. And speaking of teachers, Steve is a retired teacher of 38 years, and when the media demonizes teachers and, you know, gives you all the bull about, oh, they're off for the summer and they're out at 3. I challenge anybody to control 35, hyper kids. It's a very challenging.
And the essays and the tests don't get graded by themselves.
They magically
After
get
3
graded.
p.m.,
Yeah.
Some magic man makes up the test and grades them for us. So
Progress
it ends at
notes.
3 o'clock. You leave the building. Some teachers, but
Just
multitasking
lesson
for the
plans,
TV.
progress notes, evaluations.
Yep.
Yeah. You're Edwin works in schools, right? Tell us what you
I
do.
do residencies as well from the theater. I'm with Teatro Sea. We do off-Broadway musicals, and they send me, and I'm an artist as well. Some of my artwork is up there actually, and we do residencies. We teach. I'll teach mask making, second graders, pre-kindergarten, 6th, 7th grade, 7th graders. So I know that, man, it's hard work. You guys really.
It's teacher, it's counselor, it's motivational speaker, it's
Mother,
performance
father.
artist, mother,
Yeah,
father in some
parenting,
cases, and the demonization of teachers in the media you know, in recent years is just reprehensible. And
the special subjects such as music and art, which did you like? Obviously, you liked art as a student.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And without things like that, you know, Richard probably wouldn't have been exposed to it. Edwin,
And-
my brother went to the.
And there's a
the Art
huge
Students League
there's
in
a
New York.
huge need for more art and music in the schools. They always have like the one teacher because they don't have the budget. If they have one art teacher or music teacher, you know, same thing with gym. The kids are getting heavier and heavier. They need to be active. Why is gym and art and music an issue? And you know, it's like. You can't just have educrats deciding everything.
And why are
It's,
you picking on this guy Jim too? And what did he do?
That's right.
Yeah,
Oh,
what's-
GYM. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Where's Luigi?
Yeah.
There's supposed to be Luigi somewhere around
Yeah,
here.
we did Luigi already.
Oh yeah, you did
That's
Luigi,
right.
Yeah, you from Hopotcom? Hopotcom?
Yeah, ba-dum-bum.
Ba-dum-bum.
So,
He's out of here.
so I want to throw this out to everybody because we have a real deep love and respect and knowledge of music in this on this panel. Who are some of the people that influenced you? I'm throwing this out to all of us.
Can you start with me?
Well, yeah, sure.
My father, Roberto Vazquez, you know, was a trio artist. My mother's an amazing composer. And then, come on, there's so much. The list goes on. I really.
That was a short list. That was 2 people.
Yeah,
no,
I
I'm
mean,
kidding.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard.
They had a
So-
lot of influence.
Too many, right? New York is rich for that.
I think Richard's going to make up for your short list, but that
We
it's
went
nice
the
to
same school.
Your show will be over. I'll still be
Yeah.
announcing names.
It's nice to
Yeah, right,
it's nice to acknowledge family, of course,
Yeah,
of course. And James,
I never had family that really did music. So one guy stands out because I'm originally a guitarist. And it would be Brian May from Queen.
okay.
Yeah, he's a huge influence. His sounds, the way he writes, he could take from jazz to rock, and just something I really grabbed. Also, singing was Freddie Mercury, so I really was into Queen.
What a dynamic performer.
Oh, he was incredible. I mean, he was a king on stage.
He was the king of Queen, I think.
Yeah. Actually, he was the king of Queen.
And Richard?
Beatles.
I heard of them.
Stanley.
Yeah.
Walt Disney, Charlie Chaplin. Talking about family, my grandmother actually, at a young age, because my father didn't promote the arts to me, didn't understand it. My grandmother pushed me to keep going, so she was, you know, on that end, helped me. And it was endless, you know, with my other heroes. And in school, and we were talking about it before, we both studied at School of Visual Arts with Harvey Kurtzman. He was the creator of Mad Magazine. He was one of my mentors, and it just went on from there. So too many to mention, but those are some of the more important ones to me.
I loved comics when I was a kid. Jack Kirby, Jim
Jack
Steranko,
Kirby,
Bernie
yeah,
Wrightson,
absolutely.
Neil Addams.
I was a vicious comic book reader
me
and
too.
collector, yeah.
Me too.
Marvel and DC.
Yeah,
So when I met
absolutely.
Stan Lee, and he was the
that must
nicest
have been-
man in the world.
that must have been a thrill.
Oh, he was a sweetheart, really, really nice man.
I love Jack Kirby.
Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
One of the best of all time in the comic books, yeah.
And Steve?
Well, you know, my mother, my dad was a plumber. He was out early in the morning, came home, went right to bed to get up the next day. So my mom was really the music person in the house, and she went to see Oliver on Broadway.
Oh, yeah.
And she brought the soundtrack album home, and it played all day long. And because of my mother, I developed my love for musical theater. That's why I love going to Broadway musicals and plays as well. But my mother played Nat King Cole, Andy Williams was big in the house. So my love of music really came from my mom. And she accepted the Beatles right away, as a matter of fact. You know, a lot of parents didn't when they first appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show, because they had that long hair touching their ears.
Right.
And,
Shocking.
And my mom she always, you know, pushed music on my 2 brothers and me, and it's because of her I love music.
And speaking of
How
theater,
about yourself? I'm sorry.
Patrick McNee passed this week from The Avengers. The first Broadway show I ever went to
Really?
was Sleuth, and my father took me to the stage door. I was a kid, and Patrick McNee signed an autograph, and he was like, "Hello, little boy," like British royalty, and I was hooked for life. You know, it was such a great experience. And as far as music, I always say that some of the best nights of my life was seeing James Brown, George Clinton, Parliament Funkadelic, Al Green, Sun Ra, Avant-Garde Jazz,
Way ahead of his time, boy.
Chuck Brown out of D.C., Washington Go-Go, Kid Creole and the Coconuts, and Edwin played with Cody Mundi from Kid Creole and the Coconuts right here.
Yeah.
And I would say, I'm not bullshitting you. This is absolutely true. I would say the group I've seen more than anybody is Edwin. I would say I don't think I've ever seen anybody live more than Edwin. I never get tired of seeing this guy.
No,
Thank you,
and
that's-
it's never been
Thank you.
a subpar performance. Every time I've seen you guys play or the show here, and it's just. to
Well, that's the
another level,
beauty of
to
these
another
guys.
plane.
These guys could be playing in front of 5 people or 5,000 people, and they're always going to give 110%, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's important to, that's what we're supposed to do.
That's
and,
right.
it
It's
feels
like,
right.
It's like one unit too. You guys blend.
Yeah, this guy's
It's-
amazing.
Well,
No,
you both work so
he says I'm amazing. I'm amazing because I work with a true professional. It's very simple.
You know, that's good.
It's too bad you guys don't respect each other more.
Yeah, I
though.
know.
yeah,
And
yeah,
James said that just as Edwin wrote.
That's right.
He memorized that.
Yeah, we were scripting this earlier.
The paper's right here.
But anyway, speaking of live music, why don't we wrap up this segment, because we want to get as much Edwin Vazquez and James Grover as possible. Plug whatever you need to plug, guys. Any social media or
Oh,
anything.
yeah. Please go to edwinvazquez.com.
And spell it.
Oh, yes, very important. It's not V-A-S, it's V-A-Z-Q-U-E-Z. So it's edwinvazquez.com. And comment and hear the music. Like my director at the theater says, if you don't like the music or the performance, share it with your enemies. And yeah, and what else? Yeah, Facebook. Hit us on Facebook. You hit all the social links there. Instagram, Twitter us, say hello, and most of all, support what's happening here. Tell your friends about it. Legends TV rocks. Con sazón, please.
And
Spread
James?
the word. Is a wonderful.
Thank you, James.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Oh, what he plugs is what I plug. You know, it's the same
Alright.
thing. We work together.
You have any pages
Edwin
with like
Vazquez.
bunnies or anything? Any,
No, bunnies, no.
All right.
I know a few people that like the bunny. They were
Alright.
posting a lot of things on Facebook about it. But not really, no.
We're not talking about the Playboy bunnies, you know, James.
No, I know which
Okay.
ones. Yeah.
And as I said earlier, we've done tons of shows with Edwin, and Edwin's jammed with great rappers and artists of all different genres, and we've had dancers and actors on with you. So check out the archives, legendstvnyc.com, and of course, madhousetv.com. And without further ado, we're going to take a quick commercial timeout to set up for a great live music set. Edwin Vazquez and James Grover in just a bit. Don't you dare go anywhere. All right.
$1.3 million women are victims of physical assault by an intimate partner each year. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, the majority of cases aren't reported to the police. Most people who are in an abusive relationship don't even know they're in one. The truth is, all abusive relationships boil down to one thing: control.
How do you like it? My new dress.
Are you out of your mind? You look like a prostitute. We're not going out with you dressed up like that in public.
But what am I supposed to wear?
Wear something decent. You can't wear that out in public. We're going to be late. Get back in there and pick a different outfit. I'm going to go run some errands. I'll be back in 30 minutes. Please be ready, okay?
Fine, I'll change. Fine.
Abuse is not always physical, leaving wounds that are visible on the outside. Emotional abuse is just as painful, only these wounds are hidden on the inside.
Are you out of your mind? You're crazy. You look like a prostitute.
Know that abuse is abuse, no matter what the form.
Look at me.
Oh my God, what's wrong with me?
Physical abuse scars the body.
I just want him to love me.
but mental abuse scars the mind.
What you just saw was an example of a relationship that is emotionally abusive. Nobody has the right to tell you how to dress or how to act. If someone really cares for you, they won't tear you down. They will build you up.
How do you like it?
Wow. You look great. Fantastic. But then again, you look great all the time.
Thank you. I was hoping you'd like it. It's my new dress. I bought it just so we could go out tonight.
You look stunning.
Thank you. But I think I'm going to take a sweater just in case it gets cold tonight.
Great idea. I'm going to take one too. Let's go.
All relationships are not perfect, but a healthy relationship is when two people bring out the best in each other and have each other's good in mind. Take your time to know someone instead of rushing into something. It is better not to involve yourself with an abusive person than to try and get out of a domestic violence situation.
If someone is abusive to you and you need help, please call the Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. That's 1-800-799-SAFE. They have highly trained experts available 24/7 who will speak with you confidentially and offer information regarding the unhealthy aspects of your relationship, resources, or immediate support for victims to find safety and live lives free of abuse. Domestic violence affects us all.
It affects us all.
Nos afecta a todos.
It affects us all.
모두에게 영향을 줍니다.
Che ci ricarte tutte.
It affects us all.
Domestic violence.
Stretching under sedation or manipulation under anesthesia is a very gentle, very precise procedure to very slowly release any scar tissue that is formed as a result of a traumatic injury. Many people ask, how does this work? Will I get hurt? Will you stretch me too far? We only stretch the body part to its normal range of motion. After completing the post-MUA rehabilitation program, it's very common that our patients say to us, hey, I can play ball with my kid again. Hey, I can bowl again. Hey, I can enjoy hiking again. This is what makes it rewarding to us as practitioners.
Come on,
everybody. Superstar Nikki Addams here, reminding you to tune in next week where we celebrate the 4th of July and you get to catch up with me and talk more professional wrestling. In the meantime, I bring you the musical talents of Edwin Vazquez and James Grover. Enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you. That was a really sweet introduction. It's a pleasure to be here again. Evan, thanks so much for having us. James Grover, my buddy. Steve Ludwig, these wonderful people. This song is actually going to be on the next CD called 1111. So it's debuting here already. Se fue llevándose con ella la alegría. Se fue abriéndome de nuevo las heridas. Se marchó. No es que yo quiera tener razón. Otra solución, pero nadie viene a hacer. Se fue, se fue. Se fue con las sombras de mi alma. Se marchó. Dejándome atrapado en un laberinto de confusión. Oh, no vale la pena tener la razón. Le da el corazón, porque nada te viene a hacer. Se fue, se fue, se fue. Se fue, se fue, se fue. Embrujó la memoria de su mirada. En el baño de locura y sanidad. Con un sabor amargo y una mala impresión del amor. Se fue. thank you.
All the deceit, the negativity on the TV screen, on the news feed, pride, greed, the subject of vanity. I think it's about time we plant the right seed of truth, hope, love, peace. There's a reason why Yeshua said, love your enemies. Forgive, forgive, forgive.
cover tune for you guys. You know this one. Sing along if you want to. Got my new toy here. Little pedal on my cajon.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So it's a little old lady
over to me and she goes,